When I first became pregnant with my son, being the high anxiety planner girly that I am, I thought that I had to have it all figured out. I read so many books, I did so much research, and I just thought that I had to be perfect mom from the moment he came out. I needed to know it all. But looking back, there are so many things that no one told me, and I feel like I would always get that generic advice, or like the generic get your sleep in while you can now, or like all this stuff that's like so obvious. You already expect that. So I hope that what I'm going to share with you today are going to be things that maybe you haven't heard before, something new, and not the generic advice. And yes, I am holding your hand while I tell you these things. So let's get started. The first thing that I wish I knew as a first-time mom was that you don't need to know or do it all. There are so many outside influences, and I think it's easy to be influenced these days with social media and just what we see on social media. And it seems like these moms and women on social media, their capacity to do so many things is like vast. It's so much greater, I feel, than mine. How come they can maintain a social life and work out and post on social media and do all these things while also being a present mother? And I think a lot of times the truth is pretty uncomfortable, and that is that they're probably not being the most present mothers that they could be. Something's got to give. And I have done quite a bit of research on this because I often ask myself, why can't I do these things? What am I missing? Am I disorganized? Which partially yes, but also you cannot do it all. You physically cannot do it all. And I hate that like quote or that idea that like or how does it go? Taking someone very famous and saying, you have the same amount of hours in a day as Beyonce does, or, XYZ. And like, sure, you do have the same amount of hours in the day, but what you probably don't have is the same amount of resources that these people with an obscene amount of money have. So give yourself some grace. They have a lot of help. They have the village that it takes. A lot of us don't have a village, so something has got to give. I have found in my motherhood journey that there are days where I'm struggling and I see people in my life or friends who have multiple kids, and I just think, how are they able to have multiple children? All of their children are like in extracurricular activities or, active doing things, and they hold it together so well. Meanwhile, I'm here with one child falling apart. And at the end of the day, you just have to do what's right for you. You're on your own journey, and while some people might be able to have 2 kids, you might only be able to handle 1, and that is okay. As long as you know your own threshold and your capacity to be able to do things, listen to that. Listen to your gut. These are all kind of like in the same vein. To not compare yourself to other moms, and especially do not compare your babies to other babies. Remember that comparison is the thief of joy. Just because other moms are making 5 meals a day and baking 3 pies and working out 7 days a week and a member of some secret society and they are launching a new business doesn't mean that you aren't doing enough. It doesn't mean that you need to be doing these things, or because you're not doing any of that you are falling behind. And again, it piggies back off the point that I just made. People have different capacities. People have more help than others. And you never know what they are giving up to be able to do these things, right? Maybe they're giving up time with their kids. Maybe they're giving up their sanity. Maybe they're giving up sleep. These are all things that we might all prioritize differently. And yes, some people prioritize other things above their kids, and couldn't be me. I'll just say that. I'm not going to mom shame, but it couldn't be me. But I think that some people do justify, if I give my all to this business and focus on this, then I can give my children a better life. I can be more present. I can take them on more vacations. And so like that kind of checks out for them. I don't know. I understand it, but it's a difficult pill for me to swallow. But again, remember, we are all on our own journeys. No shaming. Now, as for the babies, all babies move at their own pace. That's why some milestones are like so vast. It's like, oh, they can be sitting up anywhere from, I don't know, 6 months to 8 months, or I think it's like 6 months to 10 months. And you're like, what the heck? That is such a freaking range. It's because everyone moves at their own pace. Babies are humans too. And remember, all humans are unique. They're individuals. Is the same thing for babies, and by comparing your babies, you're taking away the enjoyment of like the moment and the stage that they're in. And I did this thing called the New Mom School, and we were a class, I think, of like 13 moms, and we all had babies within the same month. And I mean, when you're around so many other babies, I think that it's inevitable to kind of like look at what, everyone else is doing and where their babies are at. And oh my God, this baby is like killing the tummy time game. And oh, this baby's rolling over, but like mine is just laying there. I found that, although very helpful, and I loved my time at the New Mom School, I found that I spent a lot of time comparing my son to other babies. And then I took a step back and I realized, oh my God, I would feel horrible if my son was able to understand what I'm doing. If he was able to understand that I'm comparing him to other babies. The thought of him thinking that I don't think he's enough crushed me. It gutted me. And I never want him to think that I don't think he's enough. I think that he's the most amazing human I've ever met. He's my best friend. I think that's a good reminder. It's like, if you wouldn't want your child thinking that they are not good enough for your expectations that you have of them, just let go of that thought. I think it's natural. It's human nature, but I don't know. It's time to reassess, Big disclaimer though. Big disclaimer. If you feel like something is alarmingly wrong, it is okay to get early intervention. In fact, I encourage it. I think that's super important. I think that there is a difference, however, between normal child development and just comparing for the sake of comparing because you want your child to be advanced or you want your kid to be smart or smarter. But I think there are clear signs of when your child is like very delayed, and getting that early intervention to help them is okay, because I have also seen parents who are like in denial that, there might be something going on. So big disclaimer. Okay, the third thing. By the way, I totally forgot to mention, these are 10 things that I wish I knew as a new mom. The third thing is taking time for yourself actually makes you a better mother. I know that there are a lot of women out there who get like insane mom guilt for going to get their nails done or just like leaving their child at all. Personally, I never had that. And I feel very grateful that I didn't have that mom guilt, because I think it's so important to go out and have time to yourself. And this isn't to dad shame either, but I think that a big part of that came from how hands-on and capable my husband proved himself to be very early on. Every night that I was nursing, he would get the baby, change the baby, and give me the baby, and then I'd breastfeed and then put him back. But I mean, he continued like this for the first year of our child's life. And I don't know, my husband is just like a very confident person. And I think that to me was like, oh, he knows what he's doing. Even if he didn't know, to him, he's like, I'll figure it out. Like, I don't know. That's also his personality. He's like almost a little too laid back. And so I think that his comfort with being a dad, like, for example, I would go out and do whatever, and I would never get like a text or a call from him other than to like show me a cute picture that they took together. But it was never like, hey, where is this? Or hey, he's crying, or he would just figure it out. And so that really helped in not giving me mom guilt, because I knew that at the end of the day, our son was having amazing quality time with his dad, which I think is so important too. So, and I have just found that whenever I took time to myself, especially during tough stages, whether my son was really fussy all night or he was teething or whatever the case may be, that was like really hard on me at the time. When I would leave and do things for myself, I was so much better for it when I came back. I had like, I don't know, more patience. I guess just like a different outlook. It just truly, for your sanity, does wonders to just like step away from the situation, get out of the house, right? Like, cure the cabin fever and the groundhog day that is just like being at home. Also, I am a stay-at-home mom. I forgot to mention that. So it can feel like Groundhog Day because of that. Okay, number 4 is that babies do not follow books. They sometimes don't even follow milestones. They don't follow sleep schedules. These strict feeding ideas. It just looks different for every child. And, every kid is their own person, just as every person is their own person. And while one kid is naturally like a phenomenal sleeper, another one might need sleep training. I was literally just having this conversation with my friend who sleep trained her baby. And so many people that I know did sleep training. Personally, it didn't feel right for me. Again, I also had the added benefit that I stayed at home with my son. So in my head, I'm like, he is my job. I left my job for this job. And that is a decision that I made. And this is only temporary. And I'm going to see it as such. And so, my son woke up once to twice a night for the first year of his life. And I know that a lot of parents around the 6-month, 8-month mark, they're like, I want out. Like, what can I do to have this child sleep through the night? Like I said, I was hard, and yes, I was tired, but I just had the mindset of, it's not going to last forever. And eventually he will sleep through the night. And if he needs me at night because he's hungry or he needs comfort or whatever the case may be, I'm going to give that to him. It just felt natural. And I think that you should just always follow your mom instinct and your intuition. If waking up multiple times a night is going to make you rage and be an impatient mother, and that sleep training will help you be a better mom, sleep train. Listen to yourself. Like, for example, with all the research and the reading, and there's just like way too much information online. And with all this information, I would always see, do not feed your baby to sleep, because then they'll always need you and they'll create bad habits and yada, yada, yada. I always fed my son to sleep because it was easy and I was going to do what was easy. Okay. I was not going to sit there at 2 a.m. and rock my screaming child for 30 minutes trying to get him to go back to sleep. I knew that whipping out the boob was going to work like a miracle. And I would stick my son on, he'd eat whatever he had to eat, and he'd fall asleep, and I'd grab him, transfer him to his bassinet, and it worked like a charm every single time. And I just didn't put any stress on it. Like I said, I did that for like the first year, and then at the 1 year mark, when he was having like mostly solids, I knew that like he couldn't be really that hungry at night. And so we started transferring him to his room and yada yada. That's a whole other story that I can get into. But yeah, I fed my son to sleep for the first year of his life, and we had no problem transitioning him to his room and having him sleep on his own. It was like no brainer. Was I blessed with an easy child? Probably. But all this to say, what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. And so listen to yourself. Oh, another thing too in this like topic was I tried to do the baby-led weaning. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I am so high anxiety. I could not bear to sit there and watch my son gag on his food. I could not do it. It freaked me out, and partially it's because I didn't do like any CPR classes, which I think that we should all do as parents because it's so important. But I didn't do it, and I couldn't freaking do it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm still feeding my child, and fed is best, and I'm gonna do it the way that feels right for me. And I don't know, man. I just really feel that there's something to be said about listening to your gut as a mom. Like, once he got teeth, I felt a bit more comfortable that he would be able to chew through his food and whatnot. But yeah, I did it at whatever pace my son like needed, or just honestly what felt comfortable for me that wasn't going to make me grow gray hairs. And he's totally fine. Like, he, before a year, he was eating harder things. I did what felt right. How many times am I going to say that? Oh my God. But all this to be said, I know babies or kids who they did the baby-led weaning and they are such picky eaters, because that is just like a normal stage of a child's life. I think that some kids or most kids go through like a picky eating phase, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that had you done baby-led weaning, the outcome would have been different. And that's another thing too. I saw no concrete evidence that baby-led weaning equaled non-picky eaters. There was like not enough concrete evidence to convince me otherwise. And there also wasn't like enough evidence to prove that like it reduced choking. So yeah, next one. Asking for help does not make you less of a mom. And this can be help from family, from friends, or from a professional, like nannies, babysitters, whatever. I actually recently hired a nanny. Is she a sitter or is she a nanny? I don't know. She comes once a week for 4 hours, and it has been life-changing. But let me tell you, I got some weird reactions when I mentioned to people that we had help, because they're like, well, you're a stay-at-home mom. Like, how could you need help? Like, why would you need that? And so even though no one said it, I got like the full spectrum of reactions. I got the people that were like, hell yeah, girl, good for you. You go out and you do your workouts or whatever the case may be. And then I got the people who were like, oh, okay. And the thing is, who gives It's been the best decision that I've made so far. It's allowed me the time to be able to work out again, to do a Pilates class during the week. I can go grocery shopping in peace. I can run errands. There's like so many things that I can do now. My son is 1.5 and he's in a very active, grabby, tantrumy phase, and going out with him is not impossible, even though it feels like it sometimes, but it's a freaking nightmare. And if I don't have to do that, I won't. And if financially we can afford help, then I'm gonna get help. We were never meant to do this alone. Why do you think people always say that it takes a village? It's what we're doing these days by isolating mothers is not normal. It's not normal. And yet people try to force that new normal on us. And it's people are so quick to judge moms for getting help or doing things on their own or XYZ, and it's disgusting. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what people think of you as a mother. You know your intentions. You know how you are behind these closed doors. My husband knows my intentions. He knows that I work hard at home, and who cares what Susan down the street thinks? And to me, it's just motherhood is not about pleasing others. It's about showing up for my son, my kids, my husband, my home, and that's it. Now, I may have lied because this number 6, I think you have definitely heard before, but I'm just gonna reiterate it. And it is that every phase is temporary. Every phase passes. Whether it's sleepless nights, whether it's picky eating, whether it's clinginess, it passes. Unfortunately. I remember when I was like a fresh mom, my son used to always nap trap me. So he'd fall asleep on my chest and then I couldn't do anything but lay there with him. I couldn't do the dishes. I couldn't do laundry. And I had this pressure that I had to put on myself that because I had left my job to become a stay-at-home mom, that I could not afford to sit around with my son all day, that my husband would come home from work and see a messy house and be like, this is why you left work, to come home to a messy house, which he would never think that of me, ever. Like, he knew how hard I was working to keep our child alive, and at the time I was nursing every 2 hours, and like that was really, really hard on me. And so he would never think that, but it's this pressure that I put on myself from like outside influences and just intrusive thoughts, really. And looking back, I could cry just thinking about how I would do anything for those like slow days where my son would sleep on me. Like, oh man, what I would give to turn on the TV and watch something. Maybe finally start The Summer I Turned Pretty and just lay here with him on my chest. I'll never get that back because by the next time that I'm pregnant, I'll have a freaking toddler and a newborn, and there's not going to be any laying around. And so it's just like such sweet memories that I was trying to rush through. My son does not like to cuddle anymore. He is a busy boy and he is on the go constantly. And yeah, we just like don't get that anymore. Like him laying on my chest. Oh my God, I miss that so much. Yeah. So I will say I don't think that I'm ever going to miss the picky eating because it stresses me out so much when he doesn't want to eat. And I'm like, not even his safe foods he's down to eat. And I'm like, you can't starve. Every phase passes. And if you are in the nap trap phase, please, for me, enjoy it. Number 7 is that you are doing better than you think. It's easy to feel like you are failing as a mom, but you have to remember that all your baby sees is a mom. That's you, the way that you parent him or her is all they know. I always, before becoming a mom, had this looming fear that I wouldn't be a good mom. I really don't know where that stemmed from. And I remember telling my hairdresser this, and she was like, the fact that you're so worried that you're not going to be a good mom already means that you're going to be a good mom. And I'd like to think that I'm a good mom. And while, like, at the end of the day, if someone were to ask me, do you think that you're a good mom? I would say yes. I do still feel like I'm always behind. I'm not doing enough. I'm not reading enough books to him. I'm not teaching him enough words. Like, all of these things, like, I'm not doing enough for him to maximize his potential. But yeah, at the same time, like, I get so many compliments from different people of like, oh my God, your son, he's so smart, or oh my gosh, he seems like so much older. It's those reassuring moments that like, oh, maybe I am doing something right. It could totally just be that by nature he is a little smarty, or it could be that I'm doing something right. And I think that we all just need to, I'm still struggling with this one, so help me help you. We're doing a good job. We're doing our best, and I think at the end of the day, if we were very, very real with ourselves, we know when we could have gone the extra mile and when we're just doing the bare minimum and when we're being lazy. We all have those days. It's okay. So this is your reminder to remind other moms that they're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing great, mom. Okay, this one is kind of funny. Oh, it was funny to me, actually, when I talked to my pediatrician about this. And that is that you do not need to sit and do contrast cards with your 2-week-old baby. You don't need to do it, okay? We have pictures, my husband and I, of when my son was literally days old, and we're like, with the contrast cards, you know, showing him these, thinking that it's gonna like increase his IQ and whatever, and he's like, you know, barely alive. Yeah, man, we got duped by Love Every, okay? They got us good. I don't know. I mean, to each their own. I feel like it was a waste for us, the whole Love Every. Again, a separate topic I can talk about if you want me to, but yeah. And this realization didn't come to us, and because again, we were first-time parents, until we went to our pediatrician and we started telling him how we were doing like the contrast cards, and he literally like chuckled a little bit. Like, it's like he tried to like stifle the laugh but couldn't. And he was like, yeah, like, hey, if that works for you guys. But he said like all the contrast that your baby needs right now is your face, because, you know, at that age they can't really like, they see like shadows or something. They don't like seeing color, or you're fuzzy. And so just like the outline of your face and the contrast of your hair to your skin, your eyes, like all that is so interesting to them. And what better than like faces, family, than like a card that means nothing to them. So while I think that yes, it's important for bonding purposes to like read to them when they're so little or talk to them a lot, I think that that's far more valuable. Talking to your child, way more valuable than putting a freaking contrast card in front of them. I can almost guarantee that talking to them will do something for the noodle way more than a swirly contrast card. Okay, this is for the moms that are planning to do a natural, like a birth from, I mean, I guess both births are from down there, whether it's C-section or the good old vagine. But if you are planning a birth through your vagine and you are afraid of tearing, don't be, because I was so afraid of tearing that it literally cost me my entire like birth preferences. I wanted to have a home birth, and at the end of everything. I was like fully dilated. I had been pushing for 4 hours, but I was so scared of tearing that I like psyched myself out. I thought that I was gonna literally split in half and that I would like never recover. And so yeah, I ended up working against my body and I ended up with a hospital transfer. And at the end of the day, girl, my butt hurt so bad. I might as well have torn. Like, this is what I was afraid of. I was afraid of hurting this bad. I could not sit for like a month. It was so bad. And then I see other women who like have C-sections and they're like out and about the next day, or, you know, these women who tear to the 4th degree tear and they're on walks by week 2 or dancing. And I'm like, wow, I was afraid for nothing, because, oh, I think I forgot to mention I didn't tear at all. Not a single nothing. Immaculate exit. And it still hurt for a very long time. And finally, we have come to the last thing that I wish I knew as a first-time mom. Advice that I can give is to don't listen to generic advice. Hell, don't even listen to anything that I just said. Everyone is so different and their tolerance and threshold is very different. I've talked to people who loathe the newborn phase, and so much so that they're like, oh my God, like I don't even know if I can have another one because of this, or like I'm so scared to have another baby because the newborn phase was like so awful. And I loved the newborn phase. Again, was it hard? Yes, I'm not gonna lie and say that it was all rainbows and butterflies. I think that we did have an easy baby. You know, he wasn't like colicky, he had like some reflux, but like at the end of the day, it's just like normal baby stuff. And I don't know, there's just like something that I look back fondly on, like those quiet, long nights where it was just like my son and I breastfeeding. Because he had a reflux, we'd have to like keep him up for like 40 minutes after feeding him, like burp him for like 20 minutes and then keep him up for another 20 minutes after that. And I can't remember what season of Love is Blind had come out, but I remember I like crushed through the entire Love is Blind during the night feeds, and I would get like, I would like put my AirPods in and just like feed him and watch it and burp him, and I'd get through like 2 episodes. I loved it. It's just like a really slow time. I also wasn't like out and about. I didn't put pressure on myself to like the whole snapback culture, which I think is a load of crap. I was like, no, I will be in my home without seeing anybody for the foreseeable future. Thank you. But yeah, I actually missed the newborn phase and I kind of can't wait to do it again. And because I just said that, I'm gonna get like a super colicky baby next. Just watch. And like on that same vein, some moms are like totally chill, calm, easygoing with like a bunch of kids, where I can like barely handle myself with one. And I know that for me, my max is 2 kids. But for example, my sister-in-law, they just had their 4th baby and like they are thriving, okay? They are living life to the fullest and they are like so calm and like chill moms. And I'm like, damn dude, no, I could not. My husband wanted to have 3 and I'm like, I think 2 is the magic number. Like, hear me out. You get 1, I get 1. We go on a roller coaster. We each have 1. Like, there's no odd man out. Like, it's just 2 is perfect. And I feel like, while yes, we could have 3, and I think I'd be like struggling, but okay. Just financially, I think that we could really invest in 2 kids and give them our all. Whereas 3, I feel like we'd be spreading ourselves a little thin. And that's just like us. That's just like our capacity to like what we can do. That isn't the same for everybody. And so just always remember, you know, that just because somebody else can do it doesn't mean that you have to. All of our thresholds are different. Again, these all kind of like tie in together, and I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself, but yeah. Anywho, if you are a new mom in like the thick of it, or you are pregnant or newly pregnant, congratulations. I hope that some of this advice kind of put you at ease or helped, or hopefully was something different than what you've already heard. And if you can, any 10 of you who are subscribed here, if any of you have any advice that you wish you would have heard or that you want to give to any of us moms, maybe a more seasoned mom who can give me advice as, you know, my child gets older, I would love that. I would love to read what everybody else's advice is. But yeah, that's all I have. If you would like to get to know me, there will be a video somewhere around here that you can click to do a little get to know me. And that's it. Till next time. Toodles. If you feel like something is alarmingly wrong, am I in focus? That scared the shit out of me. Fuck. I think we got an Amazon delivery. Wow, that scared me.